Eve Echoes has officially launched, and if you're like me, you're trying to find a way to get the best gaming performance you can. Playing on mobile's nice. It seems to be pretty well optimized for Android and Apple devices, but if you want to play on a PC, you have to use an emulator. So I've been trying out BlueStacks, NOX, NOX 64, and here's what I've found. First thing is you can't run DirectX, because if you do, what ends up happening on NOX Player, you can't even run DirectX on BlueStacks. It won't let you. But if you try to run DirectX on NOX Player, what ends up happening is your middle HUD, the lower middle HUD, actually just goes into a black little square. You've probably seen that. And you're still now trying to figure out the best way to get the most FPS out of it. So here's what I'll do. I'll show FPS on the emulators and then kind of give you a run through of what I'm experiencing. I'm going to jump to a Mars home base and then sit in front of the planet here and do what I call like a moon test, where you just kind of grab the screen and then jostle it around to see what your frame rates are. So already you can see in the top left-hand corner, I'm getting about 20 FPS, which is acceptable for a gaming experience on an emulator. I'm used to a lot less on Ark of War. But here we are on the ship and doing the moon test. So it's you know, this video is filmed in 60 FPS quality. So this frame rate wise is coming out at 28, which I can kind of feel a little bit of feedback. It's not that smooth, but I will say it's acceptable. Like it doesn't ruin the game for me entirely, and which is complicated, right? Eve is supposed to be a very interactive game. PvP is, you know, touch and go. You need to have very fast response and feedback time. So, you know, this is one of those things that we're going to have to accept until it gets more optimized for emulator and Android. So I'm sitting steady at 28. Here are the settings I'm using. Let's see, show system info. Okay, so it's Windows 10 64-bit. I got 32 gigs of RAM. I got a Ryzen 7 2700 and a B450 motherboard with a Radeon 7 graphics card. The graphics card's not really coming into play because I'm using OpenGL. The 32 gigs of RAM I'm using isn't really coming into play. I have my performance settings set to 12 gigs of memory, but I found it has no effect. So if I go back to 4 gigs of memory, it stays the same. So I'm stuck in OpenGL, tablet mode. Game settings, I tried enabling the high FPS. It doesn't seem to matter. I just can't get over this 27 to 30 FPS lock. So I do want to add in on the NOX 32-bit player, one of the best things is it seems to be the most stable. Sometimes I have issues with the load screen, sometimes just loading into the game. Once it's in the game, it's fully stable. And of course, the keyboard works fine, which is a big deal to me because I think interacting with guild chat and local is going to be a big part of the game. Being able to communicate is important, at least until they fix it on BlueStacks or, yeah. So, anyway. So, this is NOX Player 64-bit. We're doing the moon test here. You can kind of see my frames are at the top left corner, 14, 13, 12. I'm just grabbing a hold of the moon and moving around my ship here. I just can't seem to get up into the 20s. And currently my settings are at medium. I haven't noticed the settings going to ultra high being a game changer on the NOX 32-bit or BlueStacks, but it definitely has an effect on the 64-bit. So the 64-bit is not working as well. Okay, so this is BlueStacks 64-bit, and the settings are OpenGL, compatibility mode, otherwise it won't work. So you have to run compatibility mode, OpenGL, and then I don't have the NVIDIA settings running because I'm a Radeon guy. I have it set to high, 4 gigs, and obviously I have virtualization technology enabled. It doesn't matter if you enable the high frame rates because once again in the bottom left hand corner you can see you get stuck at 30 FPS. But one thing I'll say about BlueStacks is it's very smooth. If you do the moon test here, just kind of spin around it, I'm staying around 28, 30, but it feels a lot more like 45, 50. And it even looks better than it's actually reporting. So I actually really do like the feedback I'm getting from the mouse. The one downside to BlueStacks I'm having is if I try to type, it seems like the keyboard's really delayed. And I don't know if that's something to do with BlueStacks. I'm somewhat new to BlueStacks. I've always really used NOX. But you can see here, there's the letters I type in. So let's just type in, you know, there we go. You can hear the typing, and then we wait, we wait, we wait. If I click on it, then it shows up. So, yeah, it seems like there's like a weird feedback loop there. That's something that maybe isn't major, that can be fixed, and I like the way it feels. So BlueStacks is a maybe for me, and this is a 64-bit client of BlueStacks. Overall good. I just wish DirectX support worked. For now, this is an acceptable gaming experience. If anyone's found better settings or a better way to just get more FPS, please use the comments below. I'd love to update this video. But for now, if you're still trying to figure out how to get that performance, I can confirm this is the absolute best I've found. NOX 32-bit player with high settings, virtualization enabled, and then of course, the game settings. If you change your game settings, that also doesn't seem to matter, which I found very strange. So if I go to medium here and close that out, you can see I go back and I'm still getting that 27 to 30 FPS. It's not major. So the bottleneck is elsewhere. Unfortunately, that's just where it's at in the game right now. Anyway, I hope this video helped you. Subscribe for more EVE content. I'm still trying to get this thing optimized for filming and streaming, but there's going to be a lot more stuff going on, as well as community building. I'll see you out there in New Eden.